Andrew Tate is out on bail after Romanian authorities arrested him after they had alleged that he engaged in trafficking women for sex. Now, the New York Times reported on how and why Andrew Tate and his brother ended up getting investigated by Romanian law enforcement. And I think the piece is interesting to say the least. So the Romanian authorities had arrested Tate and his younger brother Tristan in December on charges of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized criminal group. Now, both men deny any wrongdoing. They were held in a prison for 3 months, in Bucharest to be specific, before being released under house arrest, where they are currently awaiting trial. So as the Times reports, prosecutors accused Tate of luring women to his compound and then putting them to work under duress as performers on pornographic webcams. Tate's lawyer said that the Tate brothers are famous, they are rich, they are young and beautiful, adding, what would be their interest in forcing women to act as slaves? I don't know, Cenk, what would their interest be in doing such a thing?
Money, among other things. And how do I know that? Because they say it on tape all the time.
That's their lawyer? That's the defense?
Yeah, I mean, good luck with that defense. There's your clients all over the internet endlessly saying like, oh, you lure them in and you flirt with them and you trick them and you get them to think that you love them, and then you turn them into basically slaves and you get them to perform sex and then give you the money. Okay, I don't know how you're gonna make the jury not see those tapes.
I mean, that's the thing with Tate, right? I mean, much like Trump, he can't help himself. He loves to admit to things publicly, and all of those admissions will be used against him in a court of law, hopefully in Romania. So the now defunct website for one of Tate's businesses or business ventures, an online academy offering a PhD program in techniques for getting girls, boasted that Tate owns and operates strip clubs and webcam studios and has top quality women living with him and making him money full time. I guess that's the reason why Tate would do such a thing to his lawyer, who seems confused about it or pretends to be confused about it. The sales pitch for the program, which charged more than $400 for enrollment, promised to teach students how to build an army of women who are so loyal to you that they allow you to have as many girls as you want. Okay, what's funny about all of this is that Tate thought that Romania would be this lawless playground that he could take advantage of, and he would brag openly about that. So Romania, according to the State Department's 2022 report on human trafficking, unfortunately, remains a primary source country for sex trafficking in Europe. But before his arrest, Tate said he liked living in countries where corruption is accessible to everybody and where anybody can pay a $50 bribe to get out of a speeding ticket.
Oops.
Good admissions, good admissions. It's really working out for you. But since Tate established that Romania, it would be his base back in 2016, the country's anti-trafficking agency has actually expanded its staff. They're a little bit better about tamping down on human trafficking, although there's still room for a lot more improvement, clearly. So officials in Romania have also gone further in tapping down on human trafficking by stepping up cooperation with other European countries. So they're enhancing communication with other European countries. They're also establishing a dedicated unit to combat sex trafficking by organized crime and terrorism, by the Organized Crime and Terrorism Investigation Directorate. That's the name of the agency that they're using for this. The directorate last year opened 1,246 new trafficking investigations, and that's double the number from 2021.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what Tate's actual crime is, and I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. First, let me explain that getting a conviction is not going to be as easy as you might suspect, because they have to prove not that they're just doing the sex work, but that they're doing it involuntarily.
Right, it's against their will.
Right, it's against their will. And he does have some of those women hoodwinked, and they are reluctant to testify against them. And so if they don't testify against him, or if they testify, hey, I did it perfectly voluntarily, then he's gonna get off. And so that's just real. And by the way, it's not impossible that they did it voluntarily, but then you get into questions of what's voluntary and what's not in a cult-like environment. But that's all going to be, depending on their justice system, might be difficult to prove. So I'm just keeping real with you guys so that, because a lot of times in the media, you'll see an allegation and think, oh, it's over, Andrew Tate's going to jail.
No, it's definitely not over. And by the way, let me be clear about one other thing. We don't know how many of these women were under duress, right? Or were forced, right? There could be some women who totally signed on to it, they consented to it, they had no problem with it. There could be women who did not consent to it and were forced into it. And so all of that stuff, obviously it needs to be proven. Like you can't just assume it and convict someone based on assumptions. So we'll see how it plays out. But it is interesting that Tate on multiple occasions disclosed why he moved his operation to Romania in the first place, and it's because he thought that it would just be this lawless playground where he can get away with anything.
Right, so that leads me to his actual crimes. One is, one of the girls is American, and her mom is on a warpath from Florida, and so likely the American government put a lot of pressure on the Romanian government. So that sucks that he probably would have gotten away with it if he hadn't done it to an American girl. But that's a huge part of why he's being pursued, it appears. And then the second part of it is insulting Romania. So, well, that's not an actual crime, but yeah, insulting a cop isn't a crime either. See how that turns out for you here in America. And I know from the old country, if you go around making fun of the country that you're in, you're gonna be in a world of trouble. I know that if he had gone to Turkey and was like, oh, it's so easy because Turkish people are so corrupt, you're gonna get arrested right away. Okay.
I mean, yeah. Also because Turkey doesn't like anyone saying anything bad about them.
But that's true for all of them. You think the Romanians like people saying bad things about them?
I know, but I know.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Turks are particularly touchy, but trust me, everybody's touchy. So the minute he said that, he put a giant target on his chest, right? Like he's basically spitting in the face of his host country, and that's just dumb. And that's really what defines Andrew Tate more than anything else.
And by the way, legal experts, including this law lecturer who spoke to the Times for this story, agrees with you that the involvement of a mother from the United States is what really led to this investigation in the first place. She says, without pressure from the United States to investigate, I'm not sure Romanian prosecutors would ever have touched him. So there's that. And finally, what's Tate's reaction to all of this, including the prosecution, the investigation? Well, he likes to be a little melodramatic and also likes to, dip his toe into insane conspiracy theories. So a day after armed police stormed his compound, he told his followers on Twitter, who now number, Jesus Christ, 6.6 million, that the Matrix sent their agents. The Matrix, in Tate's catch-all designation for what he sees as a conspiracy by woke corporate elites, mainstream politicians, and feminists to emasculate men. That's really what this is all about. There is this concerted effort, this orchestrated effort by various agencies to emasculate men.
Cool. He's on tape bragging about how he tricks all of these women and then makes them work for him. One of the women that might testify against him talked about how it was definitely involuntary. Other witnesses talked about how they saw it was involuntary. But it was corporations who give a rat's ass about Andrew irrelevant Tate, and because they wanted to be woke and emasculate Tate, who they've never heard of and don't care about at all.
Right.
That's why they launched the Matrix agents to go get him.
Obviously.
But the sad thing about that is that, like, the world's gotten so crazy that a whole bunch of people probably believe that. They probably think like, oh man, because Andrew is good at manipulating women and ruining their lives and turning them into sex slaves.
By the way, is that
just because of that, the corporate elites are out to get him.
Is that what masculinity is to you, by the way, if you believe that? That's what masculinity is?
Well,
I think that's bitch behavior, to be honest with you.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.